everyone, I'm Georgia and this is The Sound of Georgia. Well, theatres are now open again in Australia. Of course I went back to see the show I'd already seen. Yes, that's right, I went back and saw Hamilton again and again and again. So today I'm going to talk about that. Since I made the last video talking about my experiences at Hamilton, I have seen the show 4 more times, but for this video I'm mainly going to be focusing on the past 3 times I've seen it, because the first of those 4 happened way back at the end of May, but I will talk about it a bit. So that 4th time was at the end of May, as I said, and I went with my mother and her husband. We had a few standby/understudies that day. We had Jimmy JJ Jeter, said that 5 times fast, playing Burr, which was amazing. Jimmy did on Broadway, so he's almost one you want to see just to say you've seen him. Very different from Lyndon, which is always great when you see different actors putting their own unique twist on the role. We also had Tanga Savage play Jefferson and Lafayette. That was a lot of fun. And we had Colin Purcell play King George. And that's all I'm going to say about the first one because, as I said, it was a while ago. And considering how recently and in quick succession I have seen the other performances, they are a lot easier to talk about because they're more fresh in my memory. Especially since with these most recent performances, I just turned everything up to 11. The first time I saw it after the performance in May, and the 5th time overall, was a week and a half ago. It was on the 26th of November. It was the evening performance. And I went with my dad and his girlfriend. This had possibly the best seats in the house. This is the view I had of the stage that night, and I think that's pretty much where they say the best seats are. And last week was the first time since I saw it for the 2nd time that we had a full principal cast. This one was really special because not only were the seats great, but because it was the first time I'd seen it in a long time. And this is what I mean when I said I cranked it up to 11, because I just went all out with my outfit. For most of the shows I've been to, the first thing I did when I arrived at the theatre was buy the t-shirt, and then I'd sneak into the bathroom and change into it. Not this time. Last Friday, I went in costume. I dressed up as Peggy. That time was just so special because, having not seen it for so long, I just fell completely in love with it all over again. And dressing up as Peggy just brought a whole extra level of happiness. I really shouldn't have said I cranked it up to 11, because the next time was when I cranked it up to 11. The one I'm going to be talking about now was 2 days ago. Saturday the 4th. This time I went with my friend. He was the person I saw the show with the first time, back in March, and we both got dressed up. I was Angelica, and she was Peggy. We went and saw the matinee, and then we stayed and saw the night show, twice in one day, and it was incredible. And we got the train down, and if people were staring at me in my Angelica Schuyler cosplay, I didn't notice. So for the matinee, Hamilton was played by Tanga Savage, who was the actor I talked about a little while ago when I said I saw him play Lafayette and Jefferson. Just like Jimmy versus Lyndon with Burr, he did a great job, put his own little twist on it, very different from Jason. You never want them to be exactly the same. Quite a bit more serious than Jason Arrow's Alexander. And I actually think the Sunday show was the first time Tanga had played Hamilton, period. As I said, I saw him as Lafayette and Jefferson back in May, but I think Saturday was the first time he got to play Alexander. I think I definitely liked his performance of Hamilton more than I liked his performance of Lafayette and Jefferson. But that's because I don't like Jefferson. We also had Kira Omosa playing Angelica for both shows on Saturday, and it was wonderful to see her. The matinee we were sitting in the dress circle, and the dress circle isn't my favourite. Not because of the view or anything. I mean, actually Hurricane is freaking incredible to watch from the dress circle. But the dress circle just as a thing gives me a bit of vertigo and makes me a little anxious. Plus it doesn't help when you're sitting behind a guy with a big head and you have to kind of move your head to get the best angle you can. And most of the time I didn't really notice that all that much. But for the matinee, our view was not the greatest. And then the night show. I think Saturday night's evening performance was my favourite performance of the show that I have seen. Our seats were so much better than the matinee. The seats I had when I saw the show a week and a half ago were, in an objective sense, the best. But I think I liked our seats more in the Saturday night show. They were closer, but not as close as I've been before. Jason played Hamilton for the night show, and I'm sure I mentioned it in my other video, but I am in love with his voice. But I think the main reason Saturday Night was my favourite out of all the times I've seen this show was because of the atmosphere. The atmosphere on Saturday Night was unlike any other show I've been to. There were woos happening at the end of songs more often than not. Or maybe I was just sitting in the right place. Because it's really awkward to do that when you're the only one in the immediate vicinity who wants to do that. So you end up not doing that. Honestly, it's so hard to talk about going to see any musical, really, because there's always so much you want to talk about it that it's kind of hard. But at the same time, you can kind of feel bad for talking about it so broadly. So here's just a really rapid little list of some of the tiny details I really like. Take a break. Just all of it. Take a break is honestly my favourite scene to watch our cast do. Colin and Farmer refuted where Hamilton's talking about his dog that he totally doesn't have. The way both Jason and Tanga delivered that line was hilarious. The voice they did with that eloquently was just hilarious. Hamilton's reaction to finding out they're sleeping with Theodosia. It's always interesting to see the way the actor does that line. On the album, Lynn feels a bit judgy. On Disney Plus, he seems genuinely bummed. The way Tanga delivered that line was very, okay, what does that mean? And Jason, when Jason did it, it sounded like, sucks to be you. And Camera Buttle too, with the you must be out of your goddamn mind line. I swear, every time I hear Jason sing it, he just feels like he should have an electric guitar. A huge chunk of this year that was really hard for me, and honestly this show made it all okay. Even though a huge part of the time I wasn't feeling so great was actually in between seeing it. I love this show so much, and I love each and every one of our cast members. They're amazing and incredible. And the first thing I want to do after seeing the show is see it again. And that's everything I've got for today. Stay safe guys, feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my video next time. So long, farewell!